There are two things I realized about myself after spending a year in business school. Number one, I'm not as bad at socializing as I thought I am. Number two, I really enjoy the process of learning for the sake of just learning. Hi, my name's Alex. I'm doing a 30-day challenge where I learn to speak better English, build my camera confidence as well as my mind mouth connection. Oh, today's topic is about what I have realized after spending a year in business school, studying MBA program. So number one is I am not as bad at socializing and making small talks with people as I thought I am. Being an introverted person, I've never really enjoyed like crowd scenarios or just hang out with people with basically more than six people. Six is like my general limit, and I really don't enjoy that small talk with people. On a corridor when I'm just meet a classmate, or like in the office, just walking past a colleague. That general small talks. I prefer more deeper connection, more heart talks, and deeper discussion about a topic. No, but this year especially, I have realized that I am not as bad as I thought. In the past, I only always thought that my dislike of this social occasion stems from me being an introvert. That's still true, but one thing I realized that I am not as one thing I realized is that my dislike for social occasion also comes from me thinking that my ability to connect with people who I don't know well is bad. And that sort of like stopped me, especially my first semester at school, to go out and socialize and just talk to my new classmates. No, I didn't really take part in any cohort like school activities for the whole semester outside of classroom activities where I was working on group project and stuff. I didn't go to the welcome party or the end of semester party. The only social occasion I went to was actually the orientation, which is basically compulsory. I didn't attend any voluntary events at all for my first semester. And second semester, so the start of this year, I started to, just saying yes to a little bit more invitation to social occasions. And I remember this like one instance where it was like a school collaboration between my school and the Harvard Business School. And I thought like, this is like the an unique opportunity. Harvard being the top of all the schools, so I thought like, I want to see like what people in Harvard Business School is like. So after a lot of hesitations and with encouragement from my classmates, I just signed up and went to the event. So the result was that I realized I am way better at socializing, connecting with strangers than I initially thought. Like the whole event was like about 3 hours long, and I was talking to different people almost nonstop. Uh, I guess it's also a good thing that I pair up with a classmate whom I have gotten to know quite well, so that helped the process. But still talking to strangers just for at least more than 30 minutes, and that's when I realized I am not as bad at this whole small talk, getting to know, connecting with strangers. And that really opens up my mind to saying yes more often. I guess that's a life lesson I learned in school. Say yes more often. On the internet, you always see like people saying, you need to learn to say no to stuff in order to keep your energy, protect your peace. That's true, and I have gotten really good at it. And it's time, and I have been learning to say yes more often. Like, I say yes to a welcome back party happening on Saturday this week. I'm still scared to go to the event because it's going to be like a lot of alcohols and all sorts of people, a couple hundred, I think. But I am getting to the point where I know, I'm going to do okay. Obviously, there's are still room for improvement, but I know I can connect with people. I can handle myself in that situation. I can put on a mask and just talk to strangers in general. And the second thing is that I realize, you know, learning for the sake of learning is actually fun. Most of my classmates don't really care about their grades. Being Asian and being raised by Asian parents, grades has been a really significant part of our education. Since young we are taught that you need to get a really good grades every every semester, every school year, and then eventually so that you can get a good job. But what I learned from my classmates is that most of them are here just enjoying the process. Whether that's learning something new or learning from their classmates or just making building connections. I mean, there are still like small chunk of people who want to get good grades, but most of them here are just enjoying the process. And that sort of the environment sort of encouraged me to do the same. So over the past 2 semesters, I have been really studying hard, and instead of studying for exam, I found myself just starting to learn new things. Like financial reporting. How does the fundamentals of how does a financial report comes to be? How is cost of manufacturing managed, or how, or in organizational behavior, how does a leader's personality affect the organization as a whole? Things like that may or may not be applicable to me 10 years from now, but it doesn't really matter, and the grades don't really matter. As long as I'm learning, I'm enjoying the process, nothing else really matters. I mean, still have to pass, but the grades, whether it's an A plus or B plus, it doesn't really matter in the long term. It's about the process. Like, do I enjoy the process? Am I learning something new every single day? Because, I mean, if you go to school, you are probably going to forget 90% of that. But that process of starting the enjoyment is going to stick with you. After you graduate 5 years from now, if the need for that knowledge comes up, at the very least, you know what you don't know. So you can come back and do a Google and then research it again, and you'll refresh your memory. So yeah, this year, instead of focusing on my grades and everything, I'm trying to keep enjoying the process of learning new things. And that's it for today's video. I'll see you tomorrow.